Hello, we're back again. This is the CAD tutorial for the S60-115 or the main post. And this is another steel part, so that's why it's rendered in gray. And you'll notice the features on the bottom are similar to the Dash 139 that we just developed. Other than that, it's bigger, a little more complex. And this is the part that the piston assemblies press into, and the rocker arm goes in and it connects all the linkages between the different components. So without further ado, let's look at the drawing. And we're going to again start with what we see in the front view. Like the last one, there's a lot of stuff coming off center line, so we're going to set up symmetry in the way we develop the model. Okay, so here we go. We're going to go to SolidWorks. And we're going to create a new file, another part file. Alright, and then we'll make our standard planes visible. And we're going to sketch in the front plane. And we're going to do our sketching so that we're straddling the other plane here to build in symmetry. So if I were to go back to this view here on the left, we're going from, we go from center line, we jog up, we go left horizontal, we got an angle, we go left horizontal again, have an angle, go horizontal again, radius, straight down, and then back. Okay, so let's see if I can roughly sketch at least half of that. So I've got the line tool selected. I'm horizontal, angle, horizontal, angle, horizontal. We've got a radius, and then we go to vertical. Okay, so I'm going to draw a line, center line, that goes from the midpoint of the line at the top of the part, and it's going to go back to origin. And I should be able to make that line then horizontal. So now anything I draw on this side should be fairly symmetrical. Now I'm going to dimension all these features as they are. So we've got we go back to our drawing, and I'm going to start with, we're going to start with the overall length. So go from that to base. Which gives us 3 inches 860. Okay, so the next dimension we're going to put in is the radius on the end. So we look at our dimension, and it's called as a 2 times R 120,000.120. Okay, that shrinks in size. Then we're going to go to the next intersection point to base. And our drawing has that at 3 inches 630 thousandths. Okay, then we go to our next dimension at the next peak. From there to base, drag our dimension up. And according to our drawing, that dimension is 2 inch 440 thousandths. Alright, then we go to our next angle. Which according to the drawing is 970 thousandths. And then our last dimension from base is 530. Okay, so that's all our lengths. Now we need to do our widths. So our most extreme is 850 thousandths on a width, but we're only doing half of that. So we go to our center line, and we're going to put in 850 thousandths. Okay, the next point to our center line is 550 thousandths. And then our last flat according to print is 390 thousandths. Alright, so we have basically most of the shape we need. Now we're going to use the sketch mirror command. So we're going to go to mirror entities, and we're going to select our entities. Our entities to mirror are going to be the arc, the horizontal line, these angles, and this line. And we're going to mirror about the center line. And you get a preview here in yellow. We're not going to mirror this line because it's already the true length of what we need. So it puts in all these mirror relationships. If we change any of these dimensions, it'll change both sides. And I don't know if you noticed, I deleted the line I initially had vertically here. So we need to put a line that merges the bottom. It should turn gray at this point. And if I exit line properties and exit line, we should have a fully constrained sketch. We're going to look at this in a 3D view. We're going to exit the sketch. We're going to make sure it's highlighted. We're going to do features. We're going to do extruded base. Again, we're going to switch to mid-plane, and we're going to extrude 500 thousandths to give us our thickness. And there's our base feature now. Okay, so now we're going to make the rest of the features that we can see we've made all the features from the front view. Now we're going to switch to the features we see from the top view. And I think we're going to start with the slot over here. Okay, so we're going to do sketch, or we're going to go to sketch mode. We're going to rotate the view. We're going to select the front of the top view is our sketch plane. And so we have a slot here. Similar to how we made the last one. We're going to go in here and we're going to use the center rectangle function. We're going to select the intersection with a plane that's normal to the viewing plane. And we're going to attach it to the top of the model. So it has to be centered on center line, and it has to have one end attached to the top of the model. Now let's throw our dimensions in. So we've got a depth, and not sure where that's called from, so let's look at our drawing. Yeah, it's a depth from the call from the top. And the dimension is 472 to 482. So if we split the difference, of 10 thousandths, that's going to be 477. Okay, let's go to 3 decimal points on our tolerance display. And then we have a width of 730 to 760, so we're going to add 5 thousandths to the low. So we're at 68 thousandths. Yeah, we're going to go to a 3-place decimal point. And we should have a fully constrained sketch at this point. So accept, it's fully constrained. We're going to go to a 3D view. We're going to do features, extruded cut. We're going to switch that to through all, both directions. And select OK. And we've got our slot to accept the rocker arm. Alright, so in this side plane here, in the top view, we have a blind straight slot and we have 2 holes. One of them is a through hole and the other one is a blind hole. And then we have a detail view showing a blown up version of it. So because this is a through feature and the hole on the left is a through feature, we could make them in the same feature. But in case we need to make alterations to one of the features that's staying independent, we're going to do those as all separate features. So we're going to start off with the slot. And so let's go back to our model. And we're going to sketch. And our sketch plane is going to be on the top face of the model. We'll change our viewing orientation to be normal to it. And we're going to sketch a slot. Feature. And now we need to give it dimensions. So, according to the drawing, we're 149 thousandths to the center to the base. 1 inch, 490 thousandths. So we're going to go from the bottom of the slot, the bottom of the part, 1 inch, 490 thousandths. Puts the position of the bottom of the slot. We go back to the drawing and the distance between the centers of the arcs on the slot is 433 thousandths. So let's put that in. And we have a full radius, but our width of our slot is 260 thousandths. Alright, so we should have now a fully constrained sketch of the slot. We're going to exit the sketch. We're going to make sure it's highlighted. We're going to do features. We're doing extruded cut. And in this case, it's going to go from blind to through all. And now we have our blind slot going through the feature. Now we need to straddle this with our 2 holes. So we're going to go sketch. We're going to sketch back on that original same plane. We're going to look at the model in the prior view. It should be straight on. Now we're going to go ahead and make a circle. We're going to give that circle a diameter, which is 155 to 153, so we're going to call that 154. In diameter, and our distance to base, so from there to the base of the part, is 1 inch 260 thousandths, and that should be fully constrained. So we're going to go ahead and accept that, and we're going to do features, extruded cut, and our depth is going to be blind, and the depth of this hole is 416 thousandths. Okay, so it doesn't go all the way through the part. It's got a bottom to it. Okay, we're going to save. Now we're going to sketch our second hole. So we're going to sketch on the plane. We're going to draw our circle. We are going to exit circle mode. We're going to highlight the center of the circle. We're going to select the front plane, and we're going to make that circle coincident to it. And then we're going to highlight the circle, hold the Control T down, and highlight the edge of the other hole, and we're going to make them equal in diameter. And now we're going to do a dimension from the center of that hole to base. And according to our drawing, that should be 1 inch 890 thousandths. It looks like we got a mistake there. So I've got a hole going right through my blind slot. Not a big deal. Let's roll back to that feature and see what I did wrong. I'm going to edit the sketch, and I had a dimension to the bottom of 1 inch 490 thousandths, which is correct, and then a spacing between the centers of that slot. So I selected the centers and not the outside edges of the slot. So I made a mistake with this dimension. Not a problem. Let's go back and fix it. So I went from center to center. That was supposed to be from edge to edge. So I'm going to highlight that dimension, and we're going to delete it. And we're going to go back to the dimension tool, and holding the shift key down, I'm going to select the two radiuses that make up the end of the slot, and that should be 0.433, and we're going to accept that. And our slot's significantly smaller now. So let's hit accept on our slot, and then roll back forward, and now we've got the positions of our holes look more correct. Go ahead and highlight the sketch that we made of the circle, and now we're going to go to features, extruded cut, and we're going to make that one through all, and we'll accept. Alright, sorry about that mistake, but it shows how you can use the history to roll back and fix a model when you realize there's an issue. Okay, so now we're going to put the hole that goes in the front of the front plane that goes through for a pin, and that pin is the pivot point for the rocker arm that goes in that slot. Okay, so we're going to go sketch. We're going to look at we're going to sketch on the front plane of the part. We're going to look at it in that orientation of the sketch plane. Okay, we're going to draw a circle, intentionally draw it up at the top. We're going to give that circle a diameter. We look at our drawing, that diameter is going to be the smaller of the two. So there should have been a revision in this drawing, and there should have been only one hole size. So if your revision of the drawing shows two hole sizes, one on the far side and one on the near side, we're using the far side diameter hole that's going to go all the way through. So it's a 61 to 59 hole, and the median of the tolerance is 600 or 60 thousandths even. So we're going to double click our dimension, and we're going to make that 60 thousandths even. I'm going to go ahead and go to 3 decimal points to make it clear that that's 60 thousandths even. We're going to exit the dimension mode. We're going to highlight the center of the circle, and we're going to highlight the plane that intersects our section plane. And we're going to make those coincident. And now all we need is a dimension from the center of this circle to the base. And we reference the dimension from the base for that feature is 3 inches 681 thousandths. Okay, we're going to accept that position. We're going to highlight the sketch. We're going to do features, extruded cut. It's going to be through all. And we're going to accept, and we should have, oh, let's go back. It's going to be through all in both directions, and accept that. And we should have a pinhole going all the way through.